Hey everyone, so with the launch of Claude compute use and then later OpenAI operator, now lately with the launch of Qwen 2.5, there has been a lot of buzz around the compute use feature which these providers are offering. This feature allows the AI to interact with your computer on your behalf and do the regular tasks which we humans are supposed to. Let's say if we have to book an Amazon order or we have to book a flight, all these features can be done through a single prompt through compute use or browser use. So with respect to the pricing, these three are offering different price. Like in case of Claude, it comes with an API with a very high price token amount. In the case of OpenAI operator, it is only for the pro users, again behind a paywall of $200 per month. And thirdly, for Qwen, it again comes with a higher token pricing. Now what if I tell you I have installed an app which is an open source, which is completely free and provides this type of feature which allows you to connect with different LLMs and run the commands or the task on behalf of you, and with that even the installation is just taking 30 minutes, and that too with the knowledge of no coding required. So you get it right. I would be taking you through the installation in this video, and we will be installing it completely from start till the end, and we'll try to understand one of the tasks and run it and test it whether it is faring in that task or not. And before we dive into this video, let me introduce myself. I am Afzal from AIBROS. If you are new to this page, please subscribe, and then let's get started. Okay, so before we start, let's dive into some differences with respect to all these models and browser use, and based on the features which they provide. So first off, a brief description. Browser use is an open source tool for AI driven browser automation. For developers, it's open source community who has developed this. It's a GitHub repository. Customization, highly customizable via code and modification. If you see others, there are certain limitations. Task automation supports custom defined actions like data extraction and much more. Error handling, developers can define self-correction logic. LLM support, if you see in case of Claude, it is only on Claude, GPT-4 for operator, then Qwen's model only. In this case, we are free to use any LLM model. Accessibility is fully open source, so accessible at your local PC. You can download it, run it locally. Use cases, web scraping, task automation, AI assisted browsing, all these types of tasks can be easily done through browser use, and that too free. Integration can integrate with any AI model via code, so that's the benefit of browser use. Now in this video, what we are going to learn, we are going to install browser use. To install browser use, we have these 5 steps. Today what we are going to do, firstly we need to install Python. So again, Python is a coding language which is an English like language, so you don't need to worry about it because it's just the installation part you need to do. After that, browser use GitHub repository is there, which is the code is already present there. We will be downloading that code and then installing it into the Python packages. So no knowledge required, just follow along the instructions. Later to that, we need to install web UI. Web UI is again open source repository package or project which gives more flexibility to browser use, where it provides a neat and clean interface through which we can configure and run the prompts and run the tasks. Later we will be doing the configurations on this web UI, and at the end we will be then testing it out, running it through different tasks. Okay, so let's get started with the first section wherein we have to install Python. So for that, I would say go to python.org, and there you will find the download button. You can download the Python 3.1.1. Once this Python package is downloaded, you need to double click it and install it. I have already done it at my end, and now if you want to check whether it has been installed properly or not, so you can just open your terminal and type Python, and if you get this response, that means the package, the Python language is all successfully installed. So that completes the first step. Now after that, we need to install the browser use package. So the this is the URL for it, so everything is down in the description. If you are confused by looking at this, what is this and all, don't worry about it. Just do one thing, you can just copy it and directly paste it to ChatGPT and ask it to generate commands and to install this package on my Windows. Before that, if you feel like you want to understand what this browser uses, you can go to Git podcast, what exactly it does. You can directly paste the URL and then just click on the podcast button. Now in sometimes it will generate a podcast, which is a 5-minute podcast which explains this particular package in a very easy way. I'll try to play the recording for you, and then let's listen for it for a short while, and then we'll proceed further.
Welcome to Next Gen Innovators. I'm your host, Ava. Today, we're exploring the intricacies of a fascinating open source project. It's called Browser Use, a library designed to enable AI agents to control your browser. Joining us is Dustin Riker, a tech enthusiast with deep insights into this project. Dustin, it's great to have you with us.
Thank you, Ava. I'm thrilled to discuss this project and dive into its technical components.
Dustin, let's get right into it. Can you summarize what the Browser Use project is all about?
Sure thing. Browser Use is essentially a toolkit that allows AI systems to interact with web browsers.
So that's it. So it provides it in a very simple way, which will allow you to understand things easily. If you are a non-techie person, you don't understand code, so don't worry, just paste the URL and you will be able to understand what exactly is inside that package. You can take it for a 10-minute long podcast or 5 minutes, so that's up to you how you want to take it. So we are coming back to the installation part. We will go to the ChatGPT and we will say, give me the steps to install browser use on my Windows machine, and just paste this completely, and it will start throwing up the commands, what we need to do, how we can install it, and everything about it. So this is the first command. Let's paste it. You can open the terminal through Windows X and I. It should open a new terminal. In that way you can just type it. It will give you the Python version. So now we know that we are on the 3.3 version. After that, we go into the terminal and we'll say pip 3 install browser use, because we have a version of Python 3. So just do this. So in my case, I've already installed it earlier, obviously test it out. So it is throwing errors, so it should be already installed for me. Later to that, we have to install the playwright, which is, again, we can do it through terminal. We have to open the terminal and then we'll write the command, and then we have to just install it on the command prompt. Don't worry, it will get installed. From me, I've already installed, so I'm just skipping this part. Next is the step is to install the web UI. So what is web UI? Web UI, as I told you, like, it gives a web user interface to this browser use package, so you can easily interact with and configure all the parameters through this web UI. So to install this, first let's create a folder in the desktop named let's say task agent, and yes, we will now open the terminal for this. So we have opened the terminal inside this folder. Now going back to this web UI URL, which is there in the description, you have to just copy this code and you have to say git clone and this. So what it will do, it will be downloading that directory into my local folder. So we have the web UI folder. If you see inside it, if you see, I have everything inside it. So I am inside currently the web UI folder. So now moving to the next steps, we have to now run these commands which is there in the GitHub. So first is to git clone, which we have already done, and we have to go inside the web UI folder, which we have already done here. Next is like we need to set the Python environment using the UV. So now what is UV? Let's check that. Python package manager. So this is what we have to. So if we have to install this UV, we again have to open the PowerShell and run this command, and this will install the UV package. So in my case, again, as I said, I've already installed it, so it will take some time and it will start installing it. So that's done here. Now going back to this, and now I will go to my terminal and run this command. So the environment we have already set. Now we have to activate that environment. So I have again activated. If you see web UI comes at the first, that shows that this environment has been activated. Now next step is to this is for Windows, this is for Mac OS. Now install dependencies. So there is a file which is inside this web UI directory called requirements.txt, which contains all the packages which are required to be installed. So we'll just need to run this command. It will automatically pick it from that file and start installing the packages which are required to be installed. So as you see, in my case it was already installed, so it has completed successfully. Installed Playwright, it is saying we have already installed it earlier. Finally, this is for Docker installation. If you want to do it through Docker, again, for the non-techie people, don't worry about it. Now if you have to use it, we just need to run this command and that's it, and then it will initiate a browser session where we can now start using this web UI. So once I run this command, I will be receiving a URL which I can open and then directly start accessing this. So if you see, this is the URL here, browser, and let's see what opens here. Good. So now we have this browser use web UI open up, and now we will be moving to the next step. Like we have installed the web UI, now we will be doing the configuration. So let me take you through different options and interfaces. So first section is the agent settings. So let's keep it as is. In the LLM configuration, we can select as many LLMs as possible. Like we have a lot of options: Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, DeepSeek and all. Again, the model name of it, and here we can set the temperature for the individual LLMs, and here we have the API key. Here we have so for in this case we will be taking the Google Gemini. So for that, type Google AI Studio and go to Google AI Studio, and here we can go into the APIs and API documentation. So now if we have to create a key, so we have to click on generate API key. I already generated one. I'll delete this one and create a new one for you. Click on generate API key, and let's Gemini API create a key, and now this will create a key. Here we can copy the key, go back to browser use, and paste it over here. Select the Gemini Google and then Gemini 2.0 flags EXP model. Now after that, let's go to the next. These are the browser settings. Let it be as is, you can explore it later. This is the run agent section where you can give the actual prompt, and then the prompt will do the required actions. Like in this case, go to Google, type the OpenAI and click search and give the first result. Here we can give some deep search related commands. Here is the result section where once we run the agent, how it has performed, all those what all things we have asked to do, and then the final result will be appeared here if there were any error, and those will be displayed here. We will see it in a short while. and these are the recordings of those sessions which we will be doing. So as we have set up the keys and we have the prompt here, so let's try to run first of our agent. So as you can see, in this case it is saying that go to google.com, type OpenAI and click search and give me the first URL. So that should be openai.com. Fine. So let's try to run it. I have clicked the run agent. So now it has opened the browser. If you see, I am not doing any typing, nothing is done from my end. It has automatically opened a browser. Now if you see, it has identified different. Now it has checked the search bar, it has written OpenAI. Now it should click on the Google search button. Yes, now it has opened the first URL and it has identified the first URL, and then it should return the first URL as openai.com. So the execution has been done. Now if you see the results, so here is the result. So if you see, the first URL is openai.com. So it is doing what it is expected to do. So this is how it works. And now if you see the power, the kind of technology or the feature it provides, it's really insane. If you want to, let's say, automate your daily tasks, like if you are doing certain tasks which are kind of repetitive and you are doing it daily, so better to automate it through this agent and let it run by itself. It can even do like you can book your flights or even order something on Amazon, Zomato or any other apps. So we can give it a try. So let's say we will try to give it some other this prompt. So let's see if we want to generate a Git podcast and how we can do it. So go to, I would say, gitpodcast.com and then what I would say, and then enter this URL. This is the URL. Let's say I am taking a URL of web UI and and this URL and paste it into site search bar and hit the podcast button. That's it. So go to this Git podcast site and then enter this URL, which is the URL of the web UI GitHub repository, and paste it into the site search bar and then hit the podcast button. So we will be able to see the podcast, and in that case has been generated. So let me run it now. It has opened the browser. So let's see what it does. If you see, I am not doing anything. It has opened the gitpodcast.com. It has searched. It is going to the search bar and it should paste the browser use. It should hit podcast now. And so as we have seen the capabilities of this model, it has been really insane how easily we are able to run the automated task. The AI is able to take over our browser interface and run the commands on our behalf. So gradually, if you see, this is going to towards more and more advancements, and you might see the agents doing all the tasks by themselves by just a single click of button, and those days are near. And that's it from this video. I hope you find some value from this content. You have learned something, and if you have any doubt or any questions from this installation, do comment down. I will be answering each and every comment. And if you are new to this channel, do subscribe, and this content resonates with you. See you into the next one. Goodbye.